Blackfoot Communications continues to lift up our local entrepreneurs, delivering the resources needed to transform ideas into businesses. Our C2M beta program was founded with the mission to connect local entrepreneurs to more. With access to more professional expertise, more state-of-the-art technology, and more development resources, our 12-week program delivers the foundational and modern skills required to transform influential ideas into thriving businesses. Apply today at goblackfoot.com/apply.
First I just wanted to say that I'm obviously so grateful that we won this, but for Blair, Fallon, Martha, Madeline, and Oleana, I don't know if you're watching this, just wanted to say that we got redemption. You guys are always in our hearts and our minds, and so finally got the championship that we've always dreamed of. And I know COVID took it away that freshman year from us, but like I said, I'm really happy that we finally got this redemption. I hope you guys are watching this.
Thank you. Now we'll open it up just for general questions for our players.
Kola, are you ready to take a question?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
One last bucket. We spoke a couple weeks ago about how the team still had everything to prove after your last season, even 2 years ago, to now have reached this moment to be wearing the shirt, to have the hat, to have the piece of the net. How good does it feel to have made that proven statement?
It feels amazing. I can't even describe the feeling. Personally, I've never won a high school championship or state title, so this is everything I've ever dreamed of. And as a little girl, this is all you ever want, you know? And now we're going dancing, so it just feels very rewarding. Basketball is a game, you know, it's hard work, tears, sweat, everything. It's a mental game too. And I think this is very rewarding, and I think our team and our coaches deserve it.
And for both of you, you and your coaches have talked a lot about the depth on this team all season long. You got great contributions off the bench today from Lexi and Kayla and Madison and Ashley. Where can this depth take you, and how good does it feel to have that for a tournament like this?
It feels really good. I think that is what makes us so special, is the fact that we have such a deep bench. I think that as starters, we kind of had a little bit of a slow start, and so we came out and like those girls that you just mentioned, Jack and everybody, they just came out and picked up the pace, and they showed us exactly what we needed to do, and they set the bar higher.
Yeah, and I can go off that. I thought they came in and gave us that defensive stops, all the offensive runs. They put us back on the scoreboard and made us want to play to their level, like Darren was talking about. And I just lots of respect to them, because that's who we go against every day in practice, and I'm proud of them for how they showed out to this week.
Coach from a lot of scouting sports. Darren, you mentioned those seniors that came before you, they kind of got it taken away from them. So how much did you think about that before the game, during the game? And probably pretty special, especially because Blair Braxton was here, and I heard from Fowler the other day too. So I'm sure that they're very excited for you. But how special is it just to kind of do it for them as well?
It's really special. You know, that's why I think it's deeper than just a basketball game. It sucks. It was heartbreaking. It sucks so bad to have that ripped away from us, especially how talented we were, and they were all seniors, so we didn't get the opportunity again. But it was really exciting to celebrate it with Blair a little bit today, even though she's not a part of the team. She got a little bit of, you know, the experience with us, so that was really cool.
Kola, as Northern Arizona, they had like a 17-0 run, especially when we as buzzer beat up, the other third got called out. But then you guys responded with, I think, a 10-0 run. So what was the turning point there? How important was that for you guys to retake the lead?
Yeah, I think that's where we work on our next play mentality, and you know, getting to the next play, just executing what Coach drew up, and it was over. And we really hounded getting in the post and finishing strong, because we know, you know, you're not going to get every call. And so, especially like for me, I was pretty pissed off, I guess you could say, because I didn't really perform well the first half, and coming in, I thought I had a chip on my shoulder for that.
For both Kola and Darian, you guys probably watched the March Madness as kids on both the men's and women's side. Did you ever think when you were a kid, or even just in the last couple of years, that you would be playing in the big dance?
For me, no. Even now, not that I didn't believe in us, but I'm in shock right now. This is like the best feeling ever, but I'm a little nervous thinking about it right now, but I'm so excited. I think we're gonna have a good chance to do well.
Yeah, like she said, I'm in shock too. Like, this is amazing. And like I was saying earlier, like this is every kid's dream. I know when I was a little girl, I was watching everyone in March Madness and, filling out the brackets, and now knowing that our team's a part of that, it's crazy. I just can't even explain the feeling. It's amazing.
Kola, just to kind of piggyback off that, obviously, you kind of touched on it at the beginning, but you are from Montana, and what does it mean to you to just take a Montana team to the tournament?
Yeah, it means everything. I just really like to hope I can make all of Montana and my family back home proud of what I'm doing, and just continuing to execute our game plans and just take it as far as we can and upset some people and turn some eyes for sure.
And Darian, you touched on kind of the backups, kind of providing a spark, and one of those was Leade. It felt like she was doing kind of a lot of dirty work. I think she dove on 15 times today. Can you just talk about the impact she's had, in just her second year of college? She's seen big minutes early on too.
Every game she comes in with the mentality that nobody's going to stop her, and she's going to get deflections, steals, and she does a lot of things that she doesn't get credit for that's not on the stat sheet. So I have a lot of respect for her. Our girls, our coaches, everybody has respect for her because she just works so hard, and every day in practice or in a game we know what we're going to get from her, and she's very attack-minded, and it gets us going for sure. So I love playing with Lexi.
Darian, how tough was it? They kind of go on that run, the 10-0 run, and all of a sudden it's like you guys go from up 8 to down 2. How tough was it to kind of keep your composure together, and what do you think it says about your team that you guys kind of came out unfazed and just got right back to what you were doing?
It was a little tough. It made me a little nervous, but we leaned on each other very well. Like I said the other day, we've been doing a really good job of leaning on each other and staying composed, and I feel like we've progressed a lot. We've taken a couple steps this past couple weeks of doing that, and so I felt like even today it really showed that we were together, we stayed together, we didn't turn against one another, and it worked pretty well. So,
Darian, immediately after, that 10-0 run, I think you scored like 8 of the next 10 points for you guys. What was going through your mind as you're, facing that deficit and knowing the season's on the line?
Just playing to win, doing everything that I could, whether it's on offense or defense, to not let us go down. Wasn't ready, didn't want it to happen, and I feel like what Cole was saying earlier, I feel like our team and our coaches deserve this more than anything. We've had a long year, and this is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's made up for it for sure.
Hearing your teammates and the fans chanting MVP on the court after, what was that like for you?
So exciting. I felt really loved. I wouldn't have been able to do it obviously without my post over there, without Coach Ben, without the other girls supporting me. Sometimes I get in my own head, and they're the first people that look at me and say, we're not doing that today. Like, get your head up, and it helps a lot. They give me confidence, they give me energy, anything that I need to keep going.
I know we talked a little bit on Tuesday about kind of, doing this at home, but to win this title and punch your NCAA ticket, so close to home, what's that feeling like?
It feels really good. I just want to make my family proud, just like Kola was saying. I want to do it for anybody who hasn't got to experience it. It's really nice having everybody, a lot of people that I know from school, and they've gotten the opportunity to watch me and us play, and it's really exciting.
And for both players, I think you all succeeded fairly well in not letting the lead get out in the open floor as you maybe expected them to do. It seemed like they got a lot of second chances though. How did that make your efforts of trying to come back and then keep that lead maybe a little bit more difficult?
I think that would just with the second chances, having to keep our composure strong and not letting it get into our heads, because obviously we didn't do too well rebounding this tournament, but I think that also has another thing to say what our team brings, losing the boards and still being in every game and winning by how we are. But yeah, just the main thing is just keeping your composure and giving it your all.
Just off of what Kola was saying, it's definitely just an effort thing. As we went into halftime, or even before that, we realized how much we were down by on the rebound. So just making sure that we find a body, box them out, and not just stand there and look and jump, because we weren't really getting some calls. So yeah.
And then last for me is, if you consider the entire body of your work of this season, from kind of a slow start to here, what was maybe the hardest part, or maybe the most rewarding part of your entire season to reach this point?
It's kind of a loaded question.
I would say the season's been long. It's a mental game for sure, you know, especially once February comes. You're traveling a lot, you're missing school, and you're just feeling really overwhelmed and not seeing family as much. And I think that's just shout out to every basketball player, winter sport player. Basketball's a year-round sport, and I just think just prioritizing your mental health, especially during season and in a drought, and you know, just having people not against you, but also especially early on in season when we weren't doing too well, you know, no one would have thought we were here, but look at us now. You know, it's just like our hashtag, just prove it, and we're proving it.
Any more for Kola or Darian? No? Thank you both. Step out. We're going to open it up to Coach now.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm going to have to take a bath.
Coach, you guys are up 15 in the second half. Up 15 second half. He's down there, key shooter, and then all of a sudden they're up 2. Just what can you say about the job Loree Payne has done in building a program that was capable and pushed you guys to the brink?
Yeah, NAU is a team that you're never up enough, and they can just put points on the board very quickly. Obviously, our thoughts are for that player and for their team, and I thought they responded extremely well. And the game is a game that runs, and it's a championship game. You know that they're going to keep fighting, and you know they had a stretch that they kind of took control, and we had to respond, and we had to make a decision. I think we were down 2 in that timeout, and the decision was: are we going to play to win, or are we going to play not to lose? And we got to find a way to play to win. Focus on what's going to get that, not on everything else. And our kids responded. And back to the question over here, we put the ball in Darian White's hands. And I just really, really proud of the growth of this team for all 3 games that we had this week, because we had roller coaster moments in all 3, and they found ways to regroup and find a way to get it done.
Just how fun is it, you know, in Bozeman, you know, football gets the FCS championship, you guys are going dancing, and Montana State won, makes you guys change up the events. What's in the water in Bozeman right now?
I feel like we have a culture of excellence as a university. Our president was here today. President Cruzado is just the most incredible leader. And then we have the same thing in our athletic director, Leon Costello. I think our leadership is as good as anywhere, if not the best anywhere. And we just have coaches that are driven to care and mentor young people. And when you get belief and you get the action behind it, a lot of great things can happen. And for our squad today or this week, I felt like we got out of our own way. And I think when you play for each other, you can have some really special chemistry.
Tricia Binford with Sports. Darian read a beautiful statement about the seniors that came before her, and you mentioned it the other night too, getting this thing kind of taken away from you. So how much was that going through your head? And you know, you have one of those young ladies on your staff, so it must be pretty fulfilling, sort of celebrating from them as well.
Yeah, there was a long embrace with Coach Braxton as far as getting her ring. And even Coach Bussey, who wasn't a part of that squad, but had a tremendous career getting her ring as well. And you know, that squad was a very, very special squad, and we obviously want to honor them as well, and also want to celebrate this year's team and their accomplishments of a very difficult preseason schedule that challenged us. It was rocky. We went through some storms, and they found a way to grow up together and lean into each other. Yeah, I'm just really proud of them.
And you've been to the NCAA Tournament before, but to do this and win it here in Boise, so many Boise players on your team, what's this going like for you?
Yeah, it's crazy culture. It's I think Darian said it the best. Like it's hard to describe. You know, I just first of all, I'm just so happy for them. I think Kola addressed the mental health. It's been a long couple of years with COVID and all those sorts of things, and just I think, you know, you need to surround yourself with really special people, and this is a really special group that serves and lifts each other up, and they had a great reward today.
Tricia, on the court, you said you called Darian an MVP in every way. Some quick math for the tournament shows a 15-4 turnover ratio, and I think this was maybe 3 of the most efficient shooting games this season. You know, it kind of seems that way anyway. For her to be playing, you know, potentially her best ball in these specific 3 games, how important is that to you?
Well, it's incredibly huge to have a point guard that you can just put the ball in her hands and have her just make plays down the stretch and make the right decision for the squad and the team. Somebody who can put points on the board, somebody who can set somebody else up, somebody that you can look into the eyes and know that we're going to be okay, we're going to get through this, and somebody that can stop the ball against Northern Arizona, who has one of the fastest point guards in this conference, and get our transition defense started 94 feet. Somebody who's going to play tirelessly with her heart 100% of the time and never quits believing. I loved our Under Armour shirts that just said "No quit." That was our squad, and it goes through Darian White first. I just think she's contagious, and she gets the other kids to believe. And today, our bench came in and got the rest of the team to believe. And Darian White impacts the game in every facet. If you look at her stat line, assists, steals, rebounds, points, she continues to just impact it everywhere. And she's just about whatever the team needs, she's willing to do.
You touched on the bench. I was hoping that you could speak to Hannah Ranson's impact also.
Yes.
Of course, playing in her home state, but also she's been a role player all year, and she's played some of her best basketball just in the last couple of weeks. How important were her contributions to this?
Well, first of all, I want to just say I'm tremendously proud of Ava. You know, being a champion in your role and being ready when your name's called, and you know, it's really difficult to do. And she came in; it was a major impact for us in all three games. Not only on the defensive end, but the offensive end. She's fearless. She's super aggressive. She's really athletic. She can get her hands everywhere and put really good ball pressure. But I thought she stepped up today and hit some big shots for us. And I think that also carries on to your teammates. And also want to go back to Lexi Deanan as well. That bench really kind of, butterflies in that first quarter, and I thought the bench really gave us a tremendous lift, and we kind of played off of Lexi's relentlessness too. So there was a lot of great bench production, but Ava, like you said, had a fantastic week, and she's just continuing to get better.
Coach, you kind of touched on the mental health. Kola touched on it. So this last 2 years, as difficult as it has been for coaching for you and maybe the players to play, how rewarding is it to finally see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of that, not that it's something off your shoulders for that squad that never got a chance to do it, right? A majority of our squad has their college experience through COVID, so some of them don't even know what it has looked like prior to it, because we had such a young squad, and just roller coasters. Every student athlete is going through that. I think Kola really, I thought, hit it well with, when you look at basketball in general, that sport does hit on a lot of holidays. It's a very long season, and there's a lot of off-court things that we're just here for, and this gets to be our 2 hours of release, escape, to be there for each other and just compete hard and be proud of the way we compete, whether we win or lose. And I thought the kids, start to finish this week, competed for each other, and when you can say that, that just feels great.
Now, obviously you're a humble coach, but I want you to not be humble with this next question. NCAA, where do you want to see yourself? You guys got a great resume, depth, everything. Where do you hope to see yourself in the NCAA tournament?
I just want to see our name on the screen on Sunday and get whoever is at that selection show with us rocking, because we did that, and that's just going to be our starting over on the brand new season, and we have that to start and celebrate, and then we'll take care of business on the next question.
Tricia, I'd ask the players, or Darian, this about Lexi Deaton's impact today. Just the hustle player, kind of getting all the 50-50 balls in a game like this. She was not on the 2020 team, but in her first 2 years, she's seen a lot of minutes. So what about her made you feel like she was ready for that moment, and just kind of speak to what her impact has been the last 2 years?
Okay, so it was Lexi Deaton you were asking about, right?
Correct.
I'm going to tell everybody a story. Coulter, all of our local people will know, but not everybody that's not local. But we were done with our signing class when Lexi came to a summer camp, and she basically did all the things that you saw out there today, with diving on hustle plays, loose balls. She took every single one of them. She ripped the ball out of hand. She was coming in transition, knocking down that turnaround, and I'm like, you've got to take this kid. And she told one of my assistants at that camp, when at the time he asked her, well, why are you here at camp? She's like, oh, I'm here to get a scholarship. Well, you know what? She worked for that scholarship and she proved it. And our hashtag all season long has been proving it. That's like Lexi's middle nickname. She just goes out and she's relentless. I mean, it's what she does. She just is a competitor. She's never going to quit fighting. We talk about One of our defensive, emphasis is disrupting primary actions. Lexi's always involved in those things, and at the end of the day, everything starts with effort and getting a team in practice that's going to compete for each other. Lexi is that.
You talked about wanting to put the ball in Darian's hands in the fourth quarter. What's it like having a point guard that you can trust like that?
Well, it's amazing. It makes offensive schemes very simple, to be quite honest, especially when you get shooters in your quarters like Leah, KJ, Ava, Jack, that's Maddie Jackson for everybody, for our middle. I mean, all of our fours can shoot and our fives, and so you put the ball in Darian's hand and get her a different kind of angle ball screen, and I say her middle nickname is Snake because she's just going to make a great play. She can do a lot of different actions. It's really, for us, it's a huge benefit that she can also get to the foul line. So she's got the three-prong cylinder. So she'll keep you honest from outside, but she's so gifted with her floater and jumper, but she can also get to the rim. And so, yes, it's been something that we go to a lot. The second game, we actually went through some key kids around her, but today that was a huge stretch for us to kind of get that confidence back into that fourth.
Hey, Tricia, can you speak at all to the influence of your assistants on this team's success? Obviously, you have two former players on your staff. I know Sunny is very trusted by you also. How big are their roles and what you've accomplished today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Parker. First of all, Sunny Smallwood and I both played in this at Boise, and she's from Boise, so there's another connection there. And Sunny's as good as they get. It's basically having a second head coach on the bench for me with all of her experience and her knowledge and her ability to take things in live action and give some quick adjustments for us. But she also, with Katie and Blair assisting her in the scout reports, has every single one of those prepared, which usually you split those three ways with your assistants. I just think the X's and O's and the steadiness that Sunny brings is so valuable on both ends of the floor. And she's our defensive coordinator, so there's some things on the defensive end, but it doesn't mean that she isn't giving valuable information on the offensive end. And she's also our recruiting coordinator, which she is finding such special kids and the right kids that are culture kids, champion character kids, and that culture of excellence that we're seeking. And then you take two former players on your staff that know exactly what Coach Finn is saying when kids look at me confused because I talk very fast. But they've lived it, they've breathed it, and they've done it, and they live out our core values every single day. And Katie was kind of that starting point of turning the program around, and then Blair was kind of further on of starting to win Big Sky championships. And so it's kind of, it's really, really fun to see them in that line of just mentoring young ladies that are also seeking their full potential. So it's just an incredible staff. And then Rama Gardner is our new director of operations, and she just makes life simple and easy for us. She takes care of everything and always with a smile on her face. I'm like, she is covering everything all the time. And then our manager, Sophia, is incredible as well. This staff is super close. This team is super close. And so I think those things show this week.
Any more for Coach? Great. Thanks, everyone.
1959, at Street's Grocery in Whitefish, Montana's special spice was born. Alpine Touch. It's the taste you grew up with, well seasoned through the test of time. As the tradition carries from one Montana generation to the next. From its humble beginnings to a trusted brand, here's to the next 60 years, Alpine Touch. Montana's special spice since 1959.
Loree, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen this team go from 4 to 5 losses, and now they were in the lead in the Big Sky Championship game in the fourth quarter. Just, not the result today, but what this whole day in general means to the program.
I know it's special. I think we made a turning point probably near 3, to where I feel like we got a group of players that really did expect to win, and it wasn't, they weren't surprised when they were winning. And I think they had some success. They understood what it would take to win the Big Sky. And, it's just, it breaks my heart for Lauren, the fact that she didn't get to play a full game. And obviously, I think it definitely impacted us. But the kids made a run. I mean, I think it really hurt us in that second quarter. You see 6 points, and that was apart when Lauren went down, and then I think the kids were just trying to emotionally regroup, and that's tough. I mean, they're young. They're trying. We haven't had any injuries this year, like during a game, and so it's just an emotional strain. Add that to the adrenaline of the championship game, and it's a lot. It's a lot for them to manage and navigate through. I'm so proud of them. You know, I think the seniors have really sustained a lot of ups and downs, and they've stayed incredibly resilient. I think our new kids got a taste of what success is like, and I hope that really increases their motivation to put the work in the off season and to expect to be back in this position for many years to come.
Lauren and Nina have been together for 4 or 5 years now, so now they're exiting the program this year. Just what made that group so special? What do they mean to you?
I think just their commitment to turning a program around. I think it's definitely a different mentality when you come into a program that hasn't had success, and then you have that transitional period to where you're starting to win games and you're really starting to see that success. But it's not without trials and tribulations. It's one of those continuing to increase accountability, to continuing to raise the standard. I knew when I came in here I couldn't have a championship standard expectation immediately with kids who had no idea how to win. So we slowly had to progress and really continue to up the bar and up the bar and up the bar. And they just continued to fight for it. They continued to fight for it. They continued to work hard, and they saw small steps of success, which I think obviously led to a huge opportunity today. And it's something that we will learn from. And again, we can't take this experience away. It's something that will definitely benefit our program in the future.
Loree, first off, how is Lauren feeling?
I haven't got the complete update. Obviously, she had a brace on, so I don't think they know exactly what's going on. But we'll find out what's going on later.
Montana State kind of got on their run before, now losing one of your key shooters, especially in the night game where you're shooting your best. How do you rally your team back from that? And is there a specific player you're looking at for something to feel like?
Well, I think this team, and you just even look at like the all-conference honors, right? We didn't have anyone on first, second, or third. We have a handful of kids who could be on any of those teams on any given night. And so I think that's something that really speaks to how we've been able to get a group of very talented players to almost sacrifice individual success for the success of the team. So in that moment, it was Emily could step up, Nina could step up. There was a handful of players who have the ability to pick up that slack. It's a lot for our young kids. You look at Naya and Olivia and Fatu, they were thrown into some pretty big moments. And they're young, and so they're going to make mistakes. But I thought that they really rallied together at halftime. We talked at halftime. I just didn't feel like they were playing their best basketball, and I felt like we almost kind of were at a turning point of like, all right, we just kind of say mercy and give in because we're a player down, and or we come back and we fight. And there was a moment in the third quarter where they went on a little bit of a run, and we had another opportunity to fold or fight. And this team just kept fighting, obviously with building that, getting the gap closed, and even taking the lead for a short time. And then Montana State hit big shots. Darian is an incredible point guard. She hit some big shots down the stretch, and they just kind of were clicking at the end, and unfortunately, we kind of went a little bit cold.
And I kind of alluded to this earlier, but you are losing a handful of seniors. Mikiala, Target graduate, or Nina among them. Where does the program go now, knowing that you're losing a big core of your starting group, and you have to sort of, not build from scratch, you have a core, but you still have to kind of bring them up to speed?
I know you've done your research on our recruits coming in. They're pretty darn good, and that was one of the things that we did when we focused on recruiting. We needed to fill big shoes. And you look at the returners coming back. We got Regan, we got Emily, Naya, Olivia, Fatu. They all have a ton of experience, which is going to be fantastic. And then we're going to add an incredibly talented group of young players. And I mean, those players that didn't get the experience, the on-court experience this year, we will encourage them to work incredibly hard in the off-season to get an opportunity to earn a place in the rotation. But we're excited about the future. I honestly, I don't feel like we're going to take a step backwards. I feel like we're almost going to continue to build and increase. We just might be a little bit younger. The starting lineups might be freshmen and sophomores, but as far as talent goes, we have players that are already coming from winning cultures and winning, I think, almost every single one of our freshmen have won the state championship. I came from, we're continuing to recruit players in this class, but the ones that we have signed won state championships.
Loree and Colton in sports. So often in sports we see when you just fall short, that can be such a huge motivating factor. So how do you use that? How do you sort of harness that element?
We're excited for the young kids to get a chance to experience this atmosphere, to be able to build upon what we've already created and the foundation that has been laid. It's bittersweet, super congratulatory of Montana State. Tricia does an amazing job there with that program. And she was kind of in the same boat early on in her career. She turned a program around and now it's probably like 15 years that they've been contenders. So, it's definitely some motivation for our players and our program to just continuing to put the work in, continuing to grow, continuing to develop, and looking forward to hopefully being back here next year.
And Montana State represent the Big Sky in the NCAA Tournament. What do you think of them as this league's representative this year?
I love it. I think they're going to go out, they're going to fight. I think our representative has always put up a great fight. Last year, Idaho State did an incredible job. So definitely wishing them nothing but the best and hoping they can go get an upset.
One final question for Coach.
Loree, I just want to know, you're talking about the incoming recruits, and I believe they've signed, so I apologize if they're not, but the two local players from here, Sophia and Audrey, coming in next year. Obviously, you saw the support Montana State had with three local players tonight. How excited are you to kind of bring two more local players back here next year?
Yeah, they have signed and they won the state championship. We're very excited. We think that will definitely bring a lot of fan support here and two very, very good players. So I think they will transition nicely into our program.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.